I have a reason. I did right under the October. Right now, are. Well, maybe.
It's got that work. Yeah.
Right now, are. Right now. There's three. I mean, what is it?
Okay, it's ready. All right, welcome.
Samantha, we're trying
Good.
It's just.
We're starting. All right, welcome to the West Salem Redevelopment Advisory Board meeting. Today is January 7th. 6. Start with the call to order.
Okay. Ashley Murray,
Present.
Zachary Fisher, John Hannon. Here. Jeremy Mackay he resigned because his work schedule conflicts on Wednesdays, so he was torn up about it, but we appreciate his time that he spent on the board. So, Crozier, here, Meltzer, here, Samantha Ross,
Here.
Greg Sharn,
Here.
David Ryson, here.
So we're going to a motion to approve the agenda. Motion to approve. And a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the November meeting.
Second.
The action item.
As far as the discussion items, they been asked to look at, so there's internally ongoing conversation from agency through leadership to see how to reevaluate representation on boards and commissions. They're set in time. In this case, they were established in 2001 when the renewal area was created, and then it's amended, I think, 2010. So it's just an effort to revisit representation on the boards and commissions to make sure if it's see if we can open it up a little bit more. So been asked to do the same. So that's the first item. So in your packet, you have some background as far as the resolutions to establish the West Salem Redevelopment Advisory Board. Most recent one, look at the top, it's 10-4. So if you look at the first one, it's the establishes 2002. And so it's like the establishment, related to the creation of West Grad. And then where the header says 10-4 resolution. That was the last time. So down towards section 2, I'll share for people watching. See what time. It's a little hard to see on the TV. Anyway, this section here to speaks to the representation. So 5 persons representing interests, business owners, property owners, financial occupational interests in West Salem, 2 persons representing Salem community at large, 1 person representing interests, business owners. Moving around here. So we have Riverfront downtown, 3 persons representing residential areas and neighborhood association. From my perspective, as I promote these areas of interest, the most difficult ones to fill have been resident in the, but we have that now. It took years to get so much. I have David. Yeah. Riverfront 2 has been sometimes hard. So Samantha fills that role now with her shift to her location. I would say those have been kind of challenging ones if we want to look at reframing those. The easiest ones are at large. Because that could be anywhere, but that's where it gets a little interesting because if you open it up to all that or large thing, you might have representation without any person living or working in West Salem, understanding the dynamics of. Because it's definitely different to have to be in that part of town and over the bridge and the city of downtown and everything. So it's different than you're pull someone, let's say, north and southeast. So it's just something, I don't know if this is a good opportunity to have a conversation around it. If there's, as you try to promote West Rev, have encountered someone saying, I'd love to participate, but I don't meet this requirement. Happy to know what your thoughts might be to open that up.
Can you think an exception would change up the resolution?
Yeah, so we probably, what we'll do is we'll work with legal to take a new resolution. So where this one's 2010, so we'll have one for the 2026 so we got changes. We had a conversation, I have to remember, it's before COVID, it was probably 2018, where there was a discussion around trying to fill the resident of the West Salem urban because it was difficult to fill. And so in that conversation, then the board voted to still keep it. So that just gives you some additional context. Like they still felt that it was important to have a voice, or because we do have a lot of single family, multifamily residential areas in the district. So it makes sense. It's just hard to fill the position.
Now that this would be kind of time consuming on someone's behalf that someone, so a resident so resides in the West Rep area,
Yeah.
right? So if someone from the board were wanting to go door to door, I mean, or every other door and ask, I bet you. So let's say we wanted to pair a couple. Because I think that would be valuable to have someone that's there, that sees,
Yeah.
and is consistently, having a voice. I'd be willing to do that.
We have coverage now, but just going forward, I guess, and when that goes. Yeah, getting them to participate too. So we have had, we tried to promote meetings or there's topics that are like Second Street or other things that directly impact them. Tried have gotten help. Or we've had like open houses too. Tried to go door to door to say, and a lot of the feedback that we've gotten is the timing. Mornings are hard. With them working, trying to hold it. In those cases, I think we try to have it 7 o'clock at night so we could, get past school hours, work, dinner. So, I guess what I'm hearing is on the, for the location in the district is still pretty important. What about industrial business representation? I think we have, there's only one person for that one. So that dynamic is changing over too, but it's still industrial. We have Salem Electric, and that's been nicely by that representation. I don't know if it just being one, see that Julie thoughts around having industrial representation. Good still fits. Four persons representing interest, business owner, property owners, financial, occupational interests area. So that's another urban renewal district specific. That one hasn't been particularly hard. So finding like a business owner, someone from a local business in the district. I think some of the concern, some of what's pushing this is making sure that it's a good cross section of like what West Salem is as far as businesses, residents, and then and minorities or that type of representation. Any thoughts on, it seems like we have a pretty good, you guys have been great at helping promote people who could fill positions, and it's usually been a pretty good mix of like male female ratio. Either demographics or an idea of like what West Salem or the district is, could be reaching that group a little better.
I think as a business owner, it would be male or female or whatever, it's listed on Edgewater would be beneficial. You want to have business. And there's or male, I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Maxon Road for whatever reason. There's businesses that have gone into that area and really tried to make a difference. Storefront, aesthetics, so I think that would should do.
So would you, for instance, propose switching 2 to 1 for C and D? Try and get a heavier presence of specific Edgewater, not that one precludes the other.
Right.
So have more representation in the district. Is there a broader way to say what's like the 4-person part of the thing, business owners, stop owners? I mean, it seems pretty clear. Is there a way to frame that? That opens it up a little bit more? I mean, in my mind, the easiest thing would just be say, have 3 specific district representations, and then we have 9 or 11 total, so we have 8 they're at large, yeah. We have applications then. Southeast, northeast, so then the ratio that, represents the West Sound district specifically could be weighted more heavily, 8 to 3, would say. So that's just something, yes, it's one thing to open it up and liberalize it and make it so anyone can apply, but then it's specifics of West Salem understand.
So in the language within the riverfront downtown urban renewal, should that be our West Salem?
So the intent there was to try to have the vicinity.
You're trying to bridge.
Yeah, the bridge and the connection to downtown. That has been one, but yeah. Samantha.
So now you're emphasizing that.
We had Kathy for a long time, they did a great job. But then it was vacant. So, Samantha. But that's one of the things where I would say, I don't know, it's. You have that either at large or West Salem specific business property owner or resident. I guess what I would say is instead of having it, 4 persons property interest, you could have like, I mean, a property owner, so so I guess that's the same. So what I hear is it's still good to maintain representation in the district, specifically residential. It's just one position, so we'll keep that. Yeah. Riverfront downtown, should we change that to?
Well, I'm wondering if it should be in hand and just make it to be.
Okay.
I'm just trying to hear what you're
Yeah.
promoting, and I mean, that would emphasize the business interest on it.
So on D instead of 4. Essentially making it broader.
Yeah, and then 10 is and where we've had difficulty to fill it, see if we make it easier for people to find.
I think your methodology is proper, but the secondary is push for development, be defining the spaces that are transitioning. It's possibly being pushed, you know.
Yeah.
That'll create its own impetus.
We have seen that, so, yeah, downtown, or the downtown advisory board, now that we have more residents downtown. Station, that will change. There have been project ideas, Warrior, other areas that are kind of multifamily mixed use. That could change, yeah, so I think that'd be a good idea, thing, that way.
Does anybody have any input on how to get more members? I mean, I think you probably know the challenges of that as well as anyone being here longer now.
I mean, that's why I was kind of, you know, when we're talking about what the composition of the board should be, I think that's actually not the question. The question is how we outreach to actually get people. I don't think the composition makeup is the problem to get people. I think it's the outreach. But I think it's time, the big problems, like this is early, but then also in the evening part, so you're gonna get, you know, probably older people who are retired. Basically are not, well, it's a lot of boards are older people who are retired, they don't have young patients, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard for anyone to raise kids and go work meeting from work and cook dinner and get school, just not be. Yeah. So. Like most boards are. I mean, it's older people, that's what it is typically.
What? Kind of saying, regular basis is talking to those individuals.
Yeah.
And letting them know, hey, we have a, so literally just, you know, touching base with your local and encourage your people.
I think that's one of the most successful I've seen as a staff person, is where you guys reach out to your.
Yeah.
Other business groups, friends, whoever. Yeah. Yeah, Zach, who, I think David's always this dynamic of, yeah, reaching out to those that are, might have interest in participating.
I mean, we can't incentivize that offering.
What about the morning time frame? Is that established in here as well as meeting 7:30 in the morning? First Wednesday of every month, Wednesdays, I mean, so DAV meets at noon. So that's again, one of those, like, you have to be close.
I mean, it's not. But it works for me.
Yeah.
But I don't have children, you know, I don't.
It's easy for me, I mean, I have kids in my situation, but I'm comfortable, you know, 12.
Rock job.
Yeah. And the morning is always easier, I think, for most people,
Yeah.
but it's the evening makes it really
Yeah.
tough. Yeah. I mean, most boards that I'm familiar with meet in the morning or like around lunchtime, yeah, basically. Most.
I think it works for downtown because lunchtime was walk over. Yeah. So you guys live or work in West Salem and elsewhere. And then from other parts of town or communities to here,
Yeah.
so. Okay. So right now, as far as running a bit of what we have on D instead of and but or for West, including West Salem, so then it's time to some downtown specific. So,
Well, yeah, what I was trying to do is basically emphasize business owners explicitly downtown and or Edgewater. While it's scenario. But I mean, most of those individuals that I want as well. It's really pretty lucid.
Yeah.
Honestly. I think if we had an individual that wanted to be a way to find the door to open.
Yeah.
We could have brought in A2, so that one's business specific, business or property owner. Because you could have, as we get more multifamily in West Salem district, that would probably be renters, tenants. So you could open that up to include residents. From,
To business owners, property owners and residents.
yeah,
So instead of others.
Property owners. Residents.
Yeah. yeah,
Or you could just get rid of A through E and just say anyone. Show intent more than 50%. Help us beat a quorum and
okay. So what I'll do is I'll update this and then we'll have it at the next meeting.
So in regards to same process, someone's interested. We don't get our information. Action.
Yeah, so as far as if you guys are promoting a board position, I would say just interact with them and see what their interest is and then email me. I can pick up from there,
Yeah.
help them. Because it is a bit of a disconnect as far as taking that interested party through the process. You have to go to a whole online portal and it goes to the city manager's office. They manage the process for boards and commissions. So on my end, I can help explain to them that's what we do. That's what the board does. Some of the background I need. Then as far as like the actual application, I can share what that process looks like too. As soon as they apply. And similar to this advisory board, there's one for boards and commissions. So all the names that are collected and applied, they review those and make recommendations to city councilors and agencies. But yeah, as far as making it simple for you guys, just you have someone who I think right now with Jeremy, we have 3 positions available, so I'll promote it. I can take their contact their information from there through the process. So.
road rate or something.
And see,
The neighborhood, maybe.
I think January. Yeah, that's good. I was like, hey, well,
Yeah, I'd be happy to join it. If it's ready, put it on the calendar. You can do all the talking. Same.
this is my house. It's something like that.
I can also reach out to the that share for us that way. So just let them know, or then it's, you know, they can probably give them on. However you want. So, we're going.
Next,
All right.
no stories.
Yeah, it's building. Next item is budget discussion. So starting with budget conversation for the next year. So this meeting will be the go back and forth and you have feedback on what the project or the money, you want to move things around, now's that time, and then we'll be back in February to seek a recommendation, and then from there we'll follow the city budget process, which will start up to spring. Through spring to June. So not a lot as in your packet, after that resolution. I'm just on here, so it's easier. But, the memo that's in there just gives some background on the projects that we're working on. So, proven to the Union Street Railroad Bridge. So I'll just give an update on that. A lot of, well, pretty much everything you see on budget now is just carryover. So two projects that we're working on. In this case, the location where the path will connect and take, or go through, connect to the Union Street Bridge path. Is through private property. That conversation is ongoing. It's a bit complicated. Security, safety concerns, what it looks like as far as acquiring. Our initial approach was going to be establishing a right of way. But with the right of way, which would be city property, basically we carve out through the two private property properties, a right of way section that would be essentially city property. That was the cleanest, but as I had a conversation with planning, since it would then be like when you basically the city property of the path, then it'd be like a parks or recreation use adjacent to mixed use industrial use, and now we have that setbacks. So it went from like and I think we have a 10-foot wide area for the path, as the concrete area itself, like the path would be 8 feet. And then you have the side for like lighting and fencing. Also now we have like 10 more feet. So we'd have to have 5 feet of buffer yard on either side. So now we're looking at easement instead. So that way it's just still remains the same property owner. We just will have like a public access easement through there. So it's working through those nuances and then working out what the one particular property owner wants to see in exchange for basically the property.
I'm trying to get additional. I'm so proud of the bridge.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just curious, what would be the difference between, ship, so the property?
Yeah, so still be, so it'd be we do events all the time, so it would basically allow for public access and use through private property. And so to create that, right now, right now the two property, the budding properties have a fence line. We'd have to disrupt that fence line, and we do our path. We need to establish the fence line on both sides. And then so you were.
Does it impact maintenance and?
So yeah, it would be something that we'd have, that's something we'd have to work through as far as like. It's the. So some of the concern is with the location. There have been homeless. It's vandalism. So they want to be sure that it's maintained and some camping activity, that kind of thing. So yeah, we'd have to maintain it, make sure it's safe. And we treat it like a city-owned property. We'd have access. I'm sure on their end, they want to make sure that it's kept up and clean.
We're talking not 10 feet per area.
Yeah. So the area that we're talking about, so the two properties are here. In our path, so this, it's hard, I don't know, you can see it that well. So this path continues from Edgewater, so from here you can walk underneath, this is the exit ramp into West Salem. You can walk under here, and what we wanna do is, what we're doing with ODOT. Well, improve this, if you've been under there, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's not very utilized, and so there's a lot of camping activity under there.
Yeah. I'll just smoke, so.
Um. So what we're looking at doing is, so we work with ODOT, this is their area, they, improve that, make it better lit. Build more welcoming, and then what we would do is improve through here, cross Musgrave. It, would follow through this property on Main Street. So this is the area that. The area in question.
Is that Salem tent on anything?
Yeah, this is Salem Town line on this side. This is, regular storage units. So, so yeah, so if you can imagine similar width to this, but we'd have, the lighting. Approach that we would take would be similar in style to the Union Street Railroad Bridge. If you walk that section, it has, I would say kind of more. Urban, like downtown style.
Yeah.
It's classic
Yeah.
arched lighting, so we replicate that. Along the path, we've also proposed. Fencing that would be similar to what ODOT has used, out Market Street and areas where they've had. Yeah, it looks nice and it's pretty secure, so our project incorporates that. And would tie into their existing fences that goes around the property. So, yeah, this is working through some of those details. There's some things that property owners want to see to make sure they feel safe and. Understand that the city's gonna take care of the path and prevent it from. If there's a lack of activity, which is what you see underneath. The exit ramps and some other parts, like if you follow the Edgewater Parkway Trail. Most of that area is clean, but there's some areas behind buildings where. There's less activity and it can attract campers. But, so that's some of the concern, it's right, it's so close to their property. And they've already had vandalism issues over the years when there was camping allowed in Wall Spring Park. So some of those things we're trying to work through. But that's included in the budget. It's just to continue that conversation and work through. Like final design and this. Property recording approach, like what the property owners want to see. In an agreement for access, public access.
And Musgrave's not. Or is it just go to those businesses?
So we'll go straight through, so this.
Well, but like that Musgrave's not really used as like a.
Yeah, Musgrave, it's open and closed depending, it goes into the park, but the gates are closed, and I'm not sure exactly the timing. I've gone in there to walk the path and it's been open, so I don't know what dictates like what Musgrave's closed or open. But yeah, Musgrave goes into the park, so what we could do was, I think when it was open, why they put barricades up is a lot of congestion on Wallace. People could go through the park essentially. I can't imagine that going quicker because you have speed bumps and everything.
Right.
And it's so narrow too when you go under the bridge, the Street Railroad Bridge section. Yeah, so you can go through there and hit Glen Creek.
And now the fencing you're referring to, that would just be in between the buildings, is that?
Yeah, so we'd have a path that would kind of curves through connecting Union Street Railroad Bridge path. And on either side, so we'd have a fence, basically with just for people walking the path. It would prevent those people from, you could see into the adjacent properties, but we wouldn't be able to get there. It's specifically trying to help people, and this is intended to pass through, don't dwell. You can't access the businesses from this point, you were just trying to get you from A to B from. You're taking, this is an effort to get around the Second Street crossing, because we have people who want to just get across that street too.
And they're probably using the Edgewater path then coming over.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, depending on the time of day, you'll just see people wander across Second Street. And
Yes.
they get calls like, what are you gonna do? That's dangerous. Almost hit someone. So I don't know, I mean, human behavior is, I would never do that. The wall is too crazy, but, so the intent is to have. There have been improvements at the intersection of Wallace and Edgewater, so you have these path improvements, so you just continue around, you know, rather than take Second Street to continue to Strip Bridge. We'd have to put signage out there too, and just help promote, you know, once that connection is made, so people know that. It's
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what's the point that you're
Yeah.
doing it?
Also for bicyclists too, I mean, that stretch of sidewalk on Wallace is, I mean, it's really tight. It's
Yeah,
not really safe for, kids to ride on.
I mean, it does feel better. I've gone to this area a lot lately, over the last 2 years. The improvements are a lot better, the island areas where you can wait to cross. It's way better than trying to, with the exiting traffic, people exit the 2 lanes pretty quick from the bridge into West Salem. So I like that it's controlled and I can see the cars. The most dangerous is, I think, traffic trying to get onto the bridge from Wallace, like this section
Yeah.
here. Is where I'm like, okay, you stop me for sure before I cross, but it's such a narrow, you know, you've got 2 lanes. It's a shorter
Yeah.
distance, yeah, versus 4 lanes plus medium, Wallace, anyway. Yeah, and so I think it's a good approach to take, hopefully we can work through all these little details and actually get it to construction. And then promoting it to make sure that people know that it's there, and work with ODOT too to make sure that it feels inviting. Because it does get weird as you follow the path from Edgewater Wallace intersection. As you go this way, there's a retaining wall, and it just gets taller and taller. So you're basically committed. You either, for an exit strategy, you're either going underneath the exit ramp to Musgrave, or you're backtracking to Wallace if you had to get out of that situation. So there's just that feel as you get into that in my mind. As I walk these areas, and I try to get a sense like, okay, why aren't people using this very often? Well, it's almost like a tunnel. So as you get closer in these areas, there's walls on both sides. So you can't hit it. So if we could get it so it feels better, it's better lit. If you have like, I know on college campuses, you have those little lights where you can trigger a emergency response or something like that. I mean, people have cell phones nowadays, so it's not maybe as necessary, but some kind of deterrent where you can be like, okay, this is unsafe, or I'm getting chased or something like that. You can have some way of notifying. I'm not sure what that looks like, but it's some kind of,
There's no
Yeah,
context, anything in that section right there.
oh no, there's a path here.
No light, sorry.
No, there's one like,
Nothing.
and yeah, so I've done this been during the day, and it's still pretty dark.
So it's the actual tunnel.
No, it
Well,
just
it's
has
just
a,
really tall.
it feels tunnel, like there's like, you could scale the walls, you could get out, so there's nothing overhead it, but
Roadway's up 15.
yeah, it gets pretty tall.
So you're in a cavern. I don't know about secure.
Maybe when the weather gets better, we should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fun, I like walking this section, it's just, if I were to take you as a group. I would question, I have to go beforehand and make sure that it's clear through there, because every time they said that under the bridge. There are ones, and there's a lot of people.
There's a ton.
Yeah,
They all come into Goodwill and they run back to that spot. Seriously, it's a huge problem.
yeah, I think the worst that I've seen, they're probably in 12 or so, and the least. So, pretty good range, but there's always been people. Just kind of, yeah, then you are in a tunnel because it's. Well, it's fencing on either side, but then you have overhead, because you have the exit ramp. So it's strange through there. Especially with people, because then it feels like it's their space, they've been there a long time, and
feel
I'm
like
just
you're
walking through, so it's like. Part of me. Just getting through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's
Sort of showing
what that project is. I was hoping that we get through design and have our agreements in place so that we construct maybe by the summer, but I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'll be surprised if it's that quick. Most likely it'll be the year after.
And it's a,
So we started the year with $1 million. We've used some of that money. If you go to the next page on the back. It's a carryover of 960, so we will use the day with. We did a preliminary engineering. We've done, we have we're working with a real estate professional to help us negotiate what approach to take with the property owners. So that's what that.
who are the property?
It's 10-9, and then there's owners out of Colorado that own storage. So, yeah, it's just standard.
Not very big.
It's this spot.
Yeah. Any questions on that project? I think, I mean, the idea is that when I talked to ODOT and with us, I think it could be a neat connection. And then it's just a matter of executing it. Gets built that way and feels safe for people and actually with you guys.
And fixing that may. Which they have less, standing on that corner right there, so that's why they're standing in that corner right there is probably their housing in there.
Yeah, so I think there's hopefully, wherever you have a lot of activity, I think it's sort of as a good disruption or disperses that a little bit more because they want privacy, they kind of really so they'll go elsewhere. I mean, and that's been our selling point. Because I used to walk before COVID, over lunchtime, I walk fairly regularly over to West Salem from here. And I take Union Street Bridge, and the section that we're trying to connect to is the scariest section of that area because it has the least amount of activity. The people that typically take the Union Street Railroad Bridge exit the ramp into the park. So they don't follow, I would say, I'd have to look at the actual data, but I would say 2/3 dump into the park and maybe a third continue to Wallace. Because you really, I don't know, it's just a weird, even if I'm trying to go north, I'd rather go through the park. I'm going to Wallace specifically, so I walk that section. But if I were trying to just get to like Roth's, I would bypass that section of Wallace and I just go into the park myself and take King Creek. Because it'd be a nice walk. So I have been in summertime or whatever, when I walk that last section where that ramp takes you into the park to Wallace. And it's been, so chase there, it's been interesting. Where like, okay, do I have to intervene? Like, what's gonna happen? Yeah, so it's
During the day.
yeah, during the day. That was before COVID, but it was, I would say that it's not camping, it's just they'll sit out. I don't even know, I think park benches might have been removed from that section because there were problems. They'd be sitting or sleeping on the park benches and then,
They took.
Active right.
Away.
So is the city gonna keep that area? Like if we.
yeah, that's so
Because I
the
think the real
activity and then
question
we keep it clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can make it beautiful, but the behavior of the people in the community don't want that space anymore. So you feel like we make them want to go there.
Yeah.
And if
But it sounds
doesn't-
like lighting.
If it doesn't get maintained, then no one can use it anyway.
Yeah, and that's exactly, that's, the hope is that it'll be a good connection and people, when we have the conversations with the neighborhood and other groups, so that'll be a great connection. So it's a matter of like, so far it's been, we've been told that it will be utilized and
Be great.
we hope that it will be something. It's, exactly, if it's successful and there's activity, then it will be a deterrent hopefully and it's like safer and we'll maintain it and keep it clean. Because that's the other aspect of it is that it's not clean and it'll feel well maintained. If it's unsafe, then people aren't gonna use it.
Yeah, it's probably like created a better space for the transit population to move into. I've seen that happen.
Yeah, that's some of
Seen that
the,
happen before.
yeah, that's the concerns that the owners have expressed. So, and we don't really have any way of guaranteeing other than do what we can to help communicate them. Maybe have events or something, some way of getting the community out there so they know that the connection exists when it's done, promoting it.
Well, it'd be easy if it's, you look at it, and you don't see people.
Yeah.
I mean, then people won't try to avoid it,
Yeah,
so it's just appearance is a big part of this.
Based. Street.
Yeah, we're working through that. When I looked at the impact area from ODOT, it didn't seem like it was that area, but I've been told from the works that it is. That's something else we have to work through, so that's the retrofit seismic work over the summer street bridge. So, I think they got all of that. Actually, they were just out with holiday. They were doing some survey work, so they actually had to close it overnight, a section. Too.
Yeah. The approach. Third floor. Of, part of the.
Yeah.
Soil issue. Is on ramps in front of it.
An opportunity for us to clean up under there. Yeah, lighting.
Wasn't that part of phase 3 though? Coming into West Salem?
I'm not sure what the phase.
I thought she had explained it was like the middle section was phase 2. It's phase 3.
And I don't think they probably even visualized how they're gonna.
Right. Yeah. What that all.
Coordinate that again. My point is obviously putting $1 million time into something. And
Yeah, we time it.
why shouldn't that?
Yeah, no, if that's. Yeah,
And that's a big maybe.
that could be something we're putting on hold, so what we could do is get it designed and have our. Work through, make sure we have all of our. Property easement, legal things worked out. Just sit on that until we figure out. ODOT's impact, yeah, the intent would be to try and coordinate it, yeah, we don't want to put something in that gets torn out, and. Their investment side too would be, they have certain grants they can use for pedestrian improvements. That would be tying into, so we'd have some renewal things that we could do to help improve their section, but with it being their property. Look to them to do grants, so making sure that. The appropriate people are talking, so it's not, yeah, we don't wanna do work that will be undone. The intent would be to time it right so that. Ramp gets rebuilt or whatever, then that incorporates the lighting, so we need to help it be successful and do the work. So it could be, in that case, it could be several years, but we'll see. Yes. So then the small project fund, so that's just opportunity things, we have art for a while, we were asked to hold on to art because we had a city budget. We're actually going back and forth on. With the Salem Public Arts Commission to commission an artist and have something done. And then the timing wasn't right, given the city budget issues. So we put that on hold, that'll probably get revisited in this next summer. So that's a continuation.
property slabs there.
Yeah, so we did the improvement in Second Street when we built it, so the pedestal, the mount, everything's situated. It's just a matter of having the artist commission and put something out there, sit in the location. And then, so carry over 100,000 there, and then Redevelopment grant. We're trying to keep 1.5 million in there. We've had your recommended changes that I want to take to the agency probably in February. So as soon as I get that framed, I'll let you know. So if you want, that's have to be there. But if you wanted to watch the meeting online or something, I mean, you can be there, it's public meeting. Yeah, I'll probably be late February, so. I'll have to look and see when the renewal agency meets February, that'll be what I aim for. So then I take your recommended changes to the program for the grant. And so then it'll be in place with the changes, certain they say, okay. Then we'll have the budget set up for 1.5 million. We do have good opportunities for projects, it's just a matter of timing. So I mentioned mixed use project on Moyer. There are things off of First and Second Street that could happen. It's just, yeah. So,
So you said 1.5.
yeah. If you look at the impact, it shows you some of the column for the proposed. Fairly simple. Any questions or any ideas? Or do you really want to see money moved or?
Well, I'm definitely not talking about the sign.
There's not really sign location.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Second Street now and it's one of those where at the time we were going through, we're putting everything in place with the lights so that we can have an extension of the holiday vibe that's on Edgewater. Or you could do like night activity, where you close down Second Street. This is one of those where we provided the resources. Now it's like the community members have, like, whether it's the neighborhood association or association, like if there are opportunities to hold events. We've done what we could on our end to put the infrastructure in place. So now it's just a matter of like seeing where the community takes it. Because there are opportunities to shut down sections of Second. Festival Street, what they called it. Shut it down and have like food trucks. A lot of that for the market happens on Thursdays and that's on Edgewater. So I would think that would be hard to move it to Second because you don't really get a lot of visibility like you do on off the parkway and
So it's just a short period of time, but it's so complicated right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great location because the last one.
Yeah.
I've got a second speed.
yeah, it's hard to cross Edgewater. I've done that, so I park on the opposite side and try to, yeah, I can see that as. Edgewater's been slowed down too, is it 25 now? I think Second Street's 20 and Edgewater's 25, but I don't know that necessarily, yeah. People are saying, oh, great. Yeah,
Oh, it's not 45? Oh.
it's just people still go 45, but yeah, change the speed. Because it was a lot of people just going through Edgewater. Some of the front street and other parts of Salem, like I just need to get through. Any questions? Just really quick, since we're still talking about it. Maybe Tony's there. Maybe count. Just in your packet after the. What I included after the table is just some background, so if you wanted to give an idea of like, what about these projects or whatever, the urban renewal plan is what dictates how urban planning can be used, and so I included the sections of the urban renewal plan that speak to the projects. So if you had questions, like if you're going through your budget things and like, I don't know, but I can see X, that's a good place to look because projects that we do are have to be in the plan. So.
Yeah, somebody have visual because like with construction of Second Street. So it kind of is a
Yeah,
signalization intersection. Yeah, walkway.
yeah. And things like public parking facilities, I think there was an idea in the 90s that became more urbanized, like quicker, like downtown. Just have, that hasn't gotten that density yet. probably a time when a parking structure will be needed.
So should we have pedestrian activated, safety lights on Edgewater or making it easier?
And that's a good idea.
And then secondary would be, so it's about time to revisit the what for vision.
Vision more like 17.
17, yeah.
Seventy-two.
Yeah, I was specifically looking at 7-3, but 702. I mean, I guess revisit what priorities, what future 10, 20-year pathway we wanna. I don't, probably 20 has any merits, but looking at 5 to 10, I have some ideas. It's about half of that is been completed.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's for me, there's one.
Yeah,
Let's see if I can add all sections on board on that.
Well, whatever. It's just, I don't know how to tie Wallace and Edgewater. Into the concerts in the park.
Yeah.
You know, how do you link? They're just part of the park to the, it's not practical for somebody to pedestrian it. In a practical sense.
There's that huge stretch from the light below Walgreens. You know, McDonald's. And then the next one's all the way to Glen Creek. So maybe something in between there, yeah, probably costs a lot.
Talking about now that the median's there, what you're talking about.
Because then I give you access for the concerts closer.
Yeah, it's, I mean, for those of us that understand. You know, the road. Pathways behind there, it's not too intimidating, but sometimes unfamiliar when it comes to a softball or. Vice versa. You really don't need to be other than stay on Wallace.
Yeah.
And Edgewater, so.
So market typically between Kingwood and Kurth. Or is it further down? So,
Sure you look for.
well, I'm thinking of a safe intersection crossing like you mentioned. I think it would be McNary, because I think, is this the area typically where the. So across from the, what, Edgewater Clinic, that where the apartments are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the whole. Yeah. So McNary.
So, no, it's way for it,
They haven't been to the Robinson. But it's always.
What's this one?
that's
Private stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
The dining.
They were pretty limited.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
They have one
Yeah,
in
that's good.
All right.
there.
They're pretty big.
I'll check the photos and see if someone we can add. I know that where there are typically those flashing beacons for safety, there have to be bulb outs, and I know there are bulb outs along Edgewater, I just have to see. I have to go out there and see if it's in Mary and Perth, like those sections.
They've done, yeah.
Yeah. They try to make it, so like extend the curve, so that when the pedestrian is crossing, there's less distance for them to have to travel actually. No, but all their elements like flashing thing. So I'll check on that. That's a good idea.
It's not,
Yeah,
but they got back,
yeah.
for real. What is that, OG?
Yeah.
Yeah, Norwegians. The last thing that I have on this last page is the meeting schedule. So there's one that years typically January is canceled, so thank you for accommodating. So January, we'll do this initial budget discussion. February, we'll do that conversation. There was interest. I have every counselor come speak, and so we'll have that at the next meeting. That's behind again, we'll be here, and we'll do an update. There'll be Roman too with parks. Last meeting agenda. It's kind of a surprise improvement of this path through Wall Spring Park, parallel to the Willamette. So we wanted, like, I found out about it from actually, like, we heard about this. I don't know, was it a West End Business Association meeting or what event you attended? Like, oh, so I didn't even know about it. So she shared it with me. I saw it on the council agenda. So I think it's been put on hold because it was such a rushed project, that I think members of council and community didn't want to know more. So we still have on our schedule too, so he can come and speak to what that plan is to have like a path there for everybody, because my understanding is it's been a long term plan to have some kind of a path. I mean, it's a nice walking area, but it also would serve kind of as that deterrent. It's been fairly clean when I've gone out there as far as like camping presence. The park has been decent. So I think it's just more activity that you can provide along the river corridor area. You know, one, it's the benefit to the community to be able to utilize that space, but also service of like to prevent other things from happening.
Like beaches.
So both of them will be here in February. The budget. Oh yeah, cool. March, I guess the agency council update, that would be February, so I can change that. Parks maintenance, we had that would be separate from Rob, so we can have them come out again. We've had, I think last time we had an update from police and parks. For discussions around parks getting impacted by budget and things, so there were concerns about maintenance and what the plan was. So I think having them come back to speak on how to get staff wise and plans for how the park will be served when it's during its critical time of the summer months. I think it's good for the group to hear about that. And I think we've heard from the leadership and it's not the chief, but deputy or something like that spoke to safety and other concerns and said we can have that in April. We typically have our update from ODOT, so I think that's the benefit to have the night activities and transportation impacts that we'll feel from the Center Street Bridge improvement is, I mean, once it's done, it'll be awesome, but that will be felt, I think. But the nice thing is we'll have good ODOT presence, so opportunities for it has been great to take the time and pretty much this time every year they give us an idea of what their plans are going into the construction season. And how that ties into Salem and Salem. So now we'll have an actual project happening right here. It's nice to hear them regularly.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you're doing a really good job. Kind of setting the tone prior to them even.
Yeah.
being, you know, from
Yeah.
Our representative that works for them, all around to all the businesses. Laws and in charter, just like, even down to. I feel like they did a really good job.
Yeah.
I'm letting everyone know, hey,
Yeah,
this
sure.
is coming, watch out, you know.
Yeah. And in May, we have updates on our rural areas, so it's just a chance to hear from Gateway or from downtown. As we get into summer, things slow down a little bit. We have our fun ethics meeting every August, so there's for that one. Full county commissioner October. November, December, start the budget conversations. As far as action items, there'll be the budget, February. Chair and vice chair in July. I didn't really cancel anything, so usually in July. Falls close to the 4th. This time it's sooner, so. They're depending on meeting schedules, there's conflicts or something like that. You know, in advance, so we can kind of skip, you know, cancel meetings needed. Sorry, what did you?
So it was. I didn't garner whether.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, right.
So if there's anything, this is a set stone, so if something comes up, like, you know, if you hear something in the community, like the. Boston Park path, I didn't know that, so if you hear something. Yeah, I'm a little curious about what's happening downtown or somewhere else, if you wanna hear from a particular group. So I meet with Ashley and Zachary. Plan the agenda, but anytime, like every meeting, when you guys approve the agenda, it's an opportunity for you to be like, wow, I should change the agenda, add an item or something. So it's your meeting, your agenda. So if there's something not on here, let me know. To kind of incorporate and schedule.
You have any idea of what interests or priorities? I don't know that there's a business group other. That short with several focus.
We'll say we're business association. But that's. Yeah. That was good. Rotors a little bit more. Some people are cool. Ours is just, speaking out, guest speaker driven, educating with business owners, it's more of a networking. Versus Rotary, which is.
There was a road, is there a road
Yeah.
like saying, cause actually.
There's the Edgewater. Other,
Partnership.
yeah, doing how to. John. Robert Garcia. Well, there's a few.
I didn't know if there was any linkage of interest. With them, what we should be visualizing.
Yeah.
Been a long time since.
Bring big radio buffer.
So now we're, our few positions.
just any updates from other organizations?
Well, Salem Business Association, going forward as usual, we have a guest speaker on the fourth, typically the fourth Thursday of each month. This month it's a nonprofit. We did have, this was cool, I'm gonna try and find it. We have an email, and it's on, we have a website on it there. But we had an anonymous, donor for the, Christmas decorations, the lights on Edgewater. It was on Wallace. The LED ones, again, we're switching them out. Salem Electric, thank you guys so much. You guys store that. Put them up and take them down. But we had a anonymous donor of over 5,000 for 2025. And then he's gonna match up to 5,000 for anyone that wants to donate for 2026 towards the lighting. So mostly on Edgewater is the old school ones, which are so cool, but they're just getting old and cost a lot of money to revamp them. So we're trying to just slowly switch out. Be surprised how much those LED. So that was kind of cool. So that's the first year that I've been on the board that's happened, so.
Use that street food. The lighting, the lights are there.
I have a board meeting coming up on 14th. We're gonna talk about like some sort of a Christmas decoration sponsorship.
That's it.
I feel like we need to bring some light to that area, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that might engage residents, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't like that part of my friend. For my house, maybe they like it. But that might drive them to like, what's your group? What's for how? Okay.
So that's really the only. Yeah. Just calling forwards. And membership is still there. Or getting out, coming to the number of groups. So, like I said, if Phil Gerstner, yeah, let me know about the West Salem Neighborhood Association. Just talk to Jim. I didn't want to back. Bye.
Yeah.
Organizations, okay. So I think, so we had a discussion or questions. Anybody?
Next meeting, February 5.
Okay.